Good morning. This is Dave Shockley with Charlottesville by Dave. And I thought it might be interesting to ask those around the area what they felt yesterday during the earthquake. So stay with me and we'll see what people have to say about where they were and what happened. As most of you know, I was on top of Afton Mountain yesterday filming a short video when the earthquake hit. I'll talk with you later, so stay with me.
I was sitting right here in this office yesterday and everything started to move, and it took me a second to realize what was going on. At first I thought maybe it was somebody upstairs, and then it got more intense and more intense, and I immediately knew it was an earthquake because I had been in one in southern Illinois several years ago. And seemed like it went a lot longer than 40 seconds, but that's what they're saying on the news. And everybody upstairs ran down the stairs and went out in the parking lot. Secretary was on the phone with somebody at one of our other offices. She thought it was the people upstairs too until the one of the brokers in our company said, "We're having an earthquake," and that's when she realized what it was. So it was a rather eventful day, and everybody has something in common now and something to talk about. It's almost a little bit exciting, but there are people that did have some severe damage, and that's very sad to see. We're thinking about them today.
Thank you, Linda.
You're welcome.
Go.
Hey, this is Tiffany Van from CAR. I was asked to mention where I was yesterday during the earthquake, and I was in Walmart. A very interesting place to experience with all those good folks. The earth started moving and the rumble got louder and louder, and within a second I knew that it was an earthquake. But a lot of people were like, "A plane's landing on the building," but it was an earthquake. And I got along behind the blue parade of Walmart employees busting out the door, so it's interesting.
Thank you. Go.
Mona Sinatra. I was in Charlottesville, Virginia, and it felt as if a large truck was going by or a plane was coming real close to the top of the building, and the whole building started to shake.
Hi, I'm Rhonda Edmonds, and I was actually in my car when the earthquake hit. At first I thought it was a really big truck moving through, and then I realized, it's a little long for a truck, and I saw no evidence of a truck. I looked at the windows and the building beside me, saw they were rattling, and I was like, this is an earthquake. And I know we had an earthquake a few years ago, and this definitely is much bigger impact.
Sandy Huffman. I was at CAR office where I work every day, and I was partially under the desk as far as I could go. My knees were locked so I couldn't run outside, but that's where I was. First thinking it was a truck outside, then thinking no, it was a bomb, and then the last one was the earthquake.
Kathy Markwood. I was at the Roy Wheeler Realty office in Greene County and thought it was an airplane at first, and then we thought maybe they were doing some construction, and it was wild. Didn't know what to do first. By the time we reacted, it was over with.
Go.
Neil Williamson. I was in my home with my two children, a senior in high school and a freshman in high school, and we didn't know what the heck it was. Never been through it. Thought the washing machine had gone crazy, but I realized there wasn't a washing machine running. So we ended up figuring out what it was, told the kids to jump under a table, and I fell to the floor and said, "This is weird." That's it.
Go.
Pat Whithelm. I was in my office, which is where I mostly am. I knew it was an earthquake because I've been through these rumbles before. I just didn't know the magnitude of it or what any of the after effects would be.
I was in my car, so I didn't feel a thing. But my son called me and said, "Mom, did you feel that? The whole house was shaking." And at first I thought it was a plane crash. But then I walked into my next appointment and people were standing around saying, "Oh my gosh, did you feel that earthquake?" And so after I realized that everyone was okay, I felt chipped that I didn't feel it.
My name is Claudia Johnson Van Hoos, and I was at my house in Forest Lakes with 2 grandchildren. I initially thought it was a bomb. I really thought it was a terrorist attack because I don't live too far from Ninja. And then when it kept building and building and building, then we realized it was an earthquake. But my grandkids were totally freaked out. They were really, really scared. Both of them started crying, and we made phone calls and found out that we were going to be okay and everything was all right.
You're on.
Marcella Johnson. I was at a Wells Fargo bank office talking with a customer, and neither of us knew what the heck was going on yesterday. But it didn't take long for everyone to realize and go outside and just see what was happening.
Hi, I'm Ann Gardner with the CAR staff, and I have to say that although I wasn't here for the earthquake in the afternoon, I was definitely here for the aftershock. We had around 8:15 and p.m. a few hours afterwards, and I have to say it was something that if you weren't there, you wouldn't believe that it actually happened in Central Virginia. So it was something we're just glad all our family and friends are all safe, and we wish everyone well.
Hi, my name is Sabrina. I was in Sam's Club yesterday, way in the back when everything started to kind of do a little shimmy thing, and I looked across the aisle at a lady, and she looked at me, and she said, you know, what is this? And I didn't know. I didn't know whether to grab my pocketbook and leave or what, but it was unnerving.
I'm Kim Drake, and I was in Richmond, Virginia when the earthquake happened, and I was sitting outside a restaurant eating lunch, and I thought a train was coming by. Soon realized that was not the case, and so I just hung on to my family and for the duration, and my reaction was, I don't like this.
Sybil Mahanes. When it hit, we were in our kitchen, my granddaughter, my husband, and myself, and all of a sudden the whole house started shaking. And we grabbed hold of each other and headed for like a corner. And then when it finally stopped, we were all shaking. So that was it. That was the earthquake.
Hi, I'm Bruce Langevin, a real estate agent in the Better Homes and Gardens Faulkner office, and I was sitting here in my office when hell broke loose yesterday. The shades were moving back and forth, the lights were jiggling, and my phone fell off the desk. But we managed to get out in one piece and hope it never happens again.
Hi, I'm Bonnie Field. I was at my home in Columbia, Virginia, which is very close to the fault line, and I thought a big plane was coming over my house and that it was going to hit into the field. So I went running outside, and my dog was right behind me, and the other dog was standing there shaking, and I finally figured out, duh, this is an earthquake. So that's what I thought. Just everybody was okay and everything was okay, and that's the important thing.
Thanks.
D.B. Sandridge. I was in Crozet at a client's house, taking a contract out to be ratified, and just pulled in the driveway and standing on the sidewalk out front when all of a sudden things started to shake and rattled. I noticed the vinyl siding was looked like it was almost shaking off of the house, and my first thought was, there's a train coming by, which I've never heard a train make that much noise or shake that much, and all of a sudden the lady inside the house, I heard her say, oh my God, it's an earthquake. And sure enough, it dawned on me that's exactly what it was. But it was a pretty unique experience. First one, I've felt others before, but never anything like that.
I'm Sherry Price, and I was here at the Better Homes and Gardens Real Estate 3 office on Faulkner Drive. Scared to death, didn't know what it was, took off running down the stairs and out the door where there was 5 or 6 other agents, just as nervous as I was. We waited, thought maybe it was a train or a plane, and then finally figured out that it was an earthquake. So glad everyone is safe.
Lori Partner. I was leaving the building, Real Estate 3 Faulkner building, walking out to my car, heard a noise, and thought, oh, the train's going to be going by. And then I thought, boy, that train's moving fast. So I got in my car and put my hands on the steering wheel, and I could feel tremble, and then all of a sudden the car starts shaking back and forth. And about that time I'm looking back at the building to see if I see any other agents, and probably 10 people come running out of the building. So didn't feel any aftershocks, but that was enough. That's all I need.
Lynn Mayu. I was in a little market on Barracks Road. I stopped for my dessert, which is a cone of ice cream. I had just paid for it, and everything started shaking, and everyone started screaming, "Get out, get out." I thought the building had an explosion in it, or it was a plane crash close by. I panicked and hit the floor, and everyone said, "No, no, outside, outside." So we ran outside, and it was still shaking. It lasted for at least 25 seconds, and I was pretty shook over it.
This is Sue Plascon. I'm an associate broker at Real Estate 3, the Faulkner Drive office. I was checking out a listing on yesterday, Tuesday afternoon, I guess it was, and I was in my car, and I had pulled up to a light on 29, and for some reason my car was stopped, and it felt like it was moving, like it was rough. The engine was rough. Something was weird, and I'm thinking, what is my car doing? So the light turned green. I took off, the whole thing calmed down, and I thought, well, that was very strange. What's going on? And I get a text from my husband, and he says, "Did you feel that?" And I wrote back to him and said, "What?" You know, like, what are we talking about here? And it wasn't until I stopped on my way back to the office in a store, and all people could talk about was the earthquake and how the earth moved, and everybody was all excited about it. A lot of excitement. We're very blessed in Charlottesville not to have had much damage or any injuries. I do hear Louisa's in pretty bad shape. Houses have been ruined, and schools are closed until after Labor Day, so we're all thinking about those people.